The calls for Biden to resign or be impeached are growing by the hour. In this video, we're going to take a look at the overwhelming consensus that Biden publicly lied to the American people about the troop withdrawal. We're going to see the growing chorus for Biden's removal from office, and stick with me to the very end of this video where I'll reveal why Democrats are absolutely panicking over the upcoming midterms. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Stevie with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your daily fake news antidote. As each and every day, I provide patriotic analysis to help you to think better so you can feel better in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we begin, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's BioTrust and their awesome immune system supporting product, Ageless Body. Ageless Body combines 5 of the world's best immune supporting powerhouses to boost your immune system like nothing else. And best of all, if you click on the link below today, you can get Ageless Body at their lowest price ever, 51% off plus free shipping to boot. So don't wait, click on that link below or go to agewithsteveturley.com. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Calls for Biden to be impeached over the disgraceful Afghanistan withdrawal debacle seem to be growing by the hour. Now, as I'm sure you all know, but as of yesterday, America's longest active war, a 20-year theater in Afghanistan, came to an end, a humiliating end, with a final American troop leaving the war-torn country. In the process, it's being widely acknowledged that Biden did in fact break his overt and explicit promise that the military would not leave until every single American citizen was evacuated from Afghanistan. Take a look.
All troops are supposed to be out by August 31st. Even if Americans and our Afghan allies are still trying to get out, they're going to leave?
We're going to do everything in our power to get all Americans out and our allies out.
Does that mean troops will stay beyond August 31st if necessary?
It depends on where we are and whether we can ramp these numbers up to 5,000 to 7,000 a day coming out. If that's the case, they'll all be out.
Because we've got like 10 to 15,000 Americans in the country right now, right? And are you committed to making sure that the troops stay until every American who wants to be out is out?
Yes.
How about our Afghan allies? We have about 80,000 people.
Well, that's not the
estimate. Is that too high?
That's too high.
How
the
many?
estimate we're giving is somewhere between 50 and 65,000 folks total, counting their families.
Does the commitment hold for them as well?
The commitment holds to get everyone out that, in fact, we can get out and everyone that should come out. And that's the objective. That's what we're doing now. That's the path we're on, and I think we'll get there.
So Americans should understand that troops might have to be there beyond August 31st.
No, Americans should understand that we're going to try to get it done before August 31st.
But if we don't, the troops will stay.
If we don't, we'll determine at the time who's left.
And
if there are American forces, if there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
Now, kudos to George Stephanopoulos. I generally despise the fellow, but he finally did his job as a reporter. He pressed Biden until he gave his word that every single American would be safely evacuated from Afghanistan before the last military personnel left. Biden has now officially broken that promise. It is being widely reported that hundreds of Americans remain in Afghanistan, and the growing concern is that they are indeed going to be rounded up and used as bargaining chips by the Taliban with overwhelming leverage in any kind of international negotiation. Florida Representative Mike Waltz, himself a veteran, told the Washington Examiner, quote, "Stop calling them American citizens stuck or stranded in Afghanistan. Start calling them what they are, which is Taliban hostages. We just handed the Taliban a mountain of leverage on a silver platter." Americans, of course, overwhelmingly feel betrayed over this. The latest poll shows that 84% of those surveyed believe that the military should wait to leave Kabul until every single American citizen is evacuated, which represents perhaps the highest level of consensus among Americans on any issue, almost total unanimity among a deeply polarized electorate of any current event going on in the world. The Biden administration has ignored that. They have ignored this virtually unanimous sentiment, and they have indeed left American citizens stranded in Afghanistan. And so it's no wonder then that the calls for Biden to resign or be impeached over this dreadful debacle are indeed growing. A group of lawmakers has formally written to Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi calling on her to immediately begin impeachment proceedings against Biden. Pelosi has yet to respond, which is so odd since she's demonstrated nothing less than a love affair with impeachments. Perhaps she's too busy with more important matters. Well, that's indeed what House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy wants to know. Keep in mind, this whole debacle has been happening as Congress has been out of session and Biden was originally on vacation. McCarthy has repeatedly called on Speaker Pelosi to call Congress back into session, who, again, seem thus far to love impeachment proceedings so much. But unfortunately, McCarthy's requests have so far been blatantly rebuffed. But when Pelosi does come back, she'll find that Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is already filing 3 articles of impeachment against Sleepy Joe. I wonder what Pelosi is going to do with that. Congressman Ronnie Jackson, who was the former White House doctor to both Obama and President Trump, is calling on Biden to resign since, in his professional estimation, it is quite apparent that Biden is no longer cognitively prepared to be our president. Along the same line, Senator Rick Scott of Florida is openly questioning whether Biden is capable of discharging the duties of his office and that it is indeed time for Congress to discuss exercising the provisions of the 25th Amendment to remove him. Scott tweeted out, quote, "After the disastrous events in Afghanistan, we must confront a serious question. Is Joe Biden capable of discharging the duties of his office, or is time come to exercise the provisions of the 25th Amendment?" Senator Lindsey Graham has reiterated his call for Biden to be impeached over this. All Senators Hawley and Blackburn are ramping up their demands that Biden resign from office or face impeachment. Sean Hannity is, of course, calling on Biden to resign in the wake of what Hannity called, quote, "the worst self-inflicted foreign policy in American history." Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has stopped just short of calling on Biden to resign, but did indeed call the Biden withdrawal debacle, quote, "one of the worst foreign policy decisions in American history." And Sleepy Joe has not been helping himself in the midst of all this. I'm sure you all saw Biden's continued bumbling at the solemn ceremony at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware as the caskets for the 13 U.S. troops who were killed in the terror attack near the Kabul airport arrived. Biden, in the midst of what's called the dignified transfer ceremony, actually glanced at his watch during the ceremony, which drew massive rebuke, particularly from veterans. One person tweeted out, "Looks like he was being inconvenienced by having to show some respect for these American heroes." It was, again, by virtually all accounts, an abject public relations disaster, and it just piles another layer of disgrace on an already reprehensible situation. Needless to say, Biden is plunging in the polls. His support for what he did in Afghanistan is abysmal. Only 38% support Biden's Afghanistan debacle. And this is beginning to really scare the Democrats. And that's, of course, because we have the midterms right around the corner. Now, according to Gallup, a president underwater, that is a president under 50% approval, can expect to see a loss of an average of 37 seats in the House. So, gang, we're not just talking 50% approval anymore with Sleepy Joe. We're talking the possibility of him being under 40% this time next year. That's the disaster that's on the horizon for the Democrats. And all of this raises the obvious question, with the Republicans looking increasingly likely to take the House in November 2022, will they move to impeach Biden? House Minority Leader McCarthy recently told Fox News that while the Republicans would not use impeachment as a political weapon the way Nancy Pelosi did, they would absolutely use it in light of Biden engaging in overtly illegal activity. But as Fox News reports, the growing chorus among Republicans to impeach Biden would certainly put inordinate pressure on Speaker McCarthy to do just that if they win the midterms. Republicans may not, however, have to wait for the midterms to get rid of Sleepy Joe. In fact, Republicans themselves may not have anything to do with it. All they have to do is simply, pour butter on the popcorn and watch the Democrats do the dirty work for them. And this is because as Biden's poll numbers continue to implode, as he continues to lose support on virtually every issue, it's not just Afghanistan. He's losing the confidence of the American public in terms of the whole of his presidency. As Biden continues to implode, he is indeed beginning to drag the entire Democratic Party down with him. I don't know if you saw this, but the Epoch Times is reporting that with the 2022 midterms looming near, Democrats in vulnerable House and Senate seats are running away from Biden. Biden right now is political poison, and these vulnerable Dems are doing everything they possibly can to distance themselves from what's becoming an increasingly toxic presidency. And if Biden continues to drag the entire party down with him, especially in a colossal midterms defeat, you can expect that top Democrat leadership will put the pressure on Biden officials to have this guy finally step down. The Republicans wouldn't have to do a thing. So we'll certainly keep our eyes on how things develop here. But as we stand right now, the Biden regime is imploding, and it doesn't look like there's any way of putting it back together. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on a worldwide backlash against vaccine mandates. You're going to absolutely love it. It's really going to inspire. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.